I stood in HelixGrid's sleek boardroom, surrounded by executives pretending not to look at me. Michael Danny, the CEO, stood at the head of the table. Effective immediately, Leah. Your position has been eliminated.
No emotion.
Just a severance envelope slid across the glass. If you believe revenge is best served silent, then this is your channel. Subscribe now for more emotionally gripping, cinematic revenge stories. Hit the bell icon because the next story might just be better than this one. This is where betrayal meets poetic justice. You're watching The Rise of the Underestimated. See you in the next one. Tim Chad, the CTO, avoided my gaze. Joyce Tom, the COO, stared blankly. 7 years I'd given them, building the system they now depended on. The product? HelixGrid, the tech backbone of every logistics giant. They thought removing me was just business. But I had built everything, every node, every security gate, every fail-safe. I took the envelope calmly. Then I whispered, "You've got exactly 10 minutes before HelixGrid shuts down." Michael froze. Game on. A ripple of tension passed through the room. Michael laughed nervously. "What do you mean, shuts down?" I leaned in. "The system is detecting hostile takeover. It's protecting itself." Joyce's eyes widened. "That's not possible." "Oh, it's very possible," I said. Tim grabbed his laptop. "Check the monitoring tools." Kim Will, my only trusted ally, sat quietly in the corner. Our eyes met. She gave the slightest nod. I stood tall, badge in hand. "You revoked the wrong access. Now the system thinks it's under attack." I turned and walked away. Behind me, Michael barked orders. Chaos erupted. 10 minutes on the clock. And I was just getting started. By the time I reached the parking garage, Helix Core was in freefall. Servers were unresponsive. APIs failed. Client dashboards crashed. HelixGrid was locking itself down, just as I designed. My phone buzzed. 9 missed calls. Michael. Tim. Joyce. I ignored them. I stopped for coffee, smiling at the barista. Meanwhile, a billion-dollar tech empire crumbled. At home, I powered on my backup laptop. Kim messaged me. "They're panicking. Legal's already in." Good. I opened the Red Phoenix protocol, a security module I built quietly 2 years ago. It traced anyone who tried accessing the core without proper credentials. Helix Core would realize soon enough, without me their crown jewel didn't shine. And this revenge? It was just beginning. 2 hours later, a knock at my apartment door. I looked through the peephole, Tim Chad and Joyce Tom. Desperate. Sweaty. I opened the door halfway. "We need to talk," Joyce said, out of breath. "Oh? Now I'm worth talking to." Tim ran a hand through his hair. "Leah, HelixGrid is offline. Clients are threatening lawsuits. You're the only one who can fix this." I stepped aside. Shoes off. They entered like kids called to the principal's office. I crossed my arms. "Let me guess. Michael's too proud to come." They nodded. I opened my laptop. "See this?" I pointed to the red dashboard. "This isn't a malfunction. It's protection. Triggered when someone erased the architect me." Their silence? Delicious. "Can you bring it back online?" Joyce asked, voice shaky. I nodded slowly. "I can." Tim leaned forward. "Please. Just tell us what you want." I stood, walking to my bookshelf. Pulled out a folder. "You want HelixGrid back? Here's the deal. Full reinstatement, CTO. 50% ownership of all HelixGrid patents. $10 million compensation for wrongful termination. A public statement naming me sole creator. Non negotiable." Tim's mouth dropped. "That's insane." I stared. "What you did was insane. This is justice." Joyce bit her lip. "Michael will never agree." I smiled. Then he better enjoy watching Helix Core burn. My phone buzzed again. Caller ID Michael Danny. Time for the CEO to beg. If this story shook you, if you believe revenge is best served silent, then this is your channel. Subscribe now for more emotionally gripping, cinematic revenge stories. Hit the bell icon because the next story might just be better than this one. This is where betrayal meets poetic justice. You're watching The Rise of the Underestimated. See you in the next one. They fired me in front of everyone. but forgot I designed the entire system. Narrator, Leah Paige. Each chapter is exactly 120 words. Chapter 6. The CO arrives. The knock was louder this time, furious, rapid. I opened the door to find Michael Danny, tie loosened, panic in his eyes. He barged in uninvited. "What the hell did you do?" he shouted. I stayed calm. "I did what you triggered." Joyce and Tim stood silently. "You're jeopardizing our clients," he barked. I turned my laptop around. Red alerts flashed. 92% of operations down. "Still think you can erase me and keep my creation?" His glare hardened. "I'll sue you for sabotage." I leaned in. "Try. The logs prove your mistake." Silence. "You want it back? Sign the agreement." He stared. "You're bluffing." I smiled. He wasn't angry anymore. He was terrified. Michael stared at the folder on my table. His hand trembled. "You expect me to hand over ownership?" "No," I said coolly. "I expect you to pay for trying to steal it." He looked at Joyce, then Tim. Nothing but guilt on their faces. "HelixGrid will collapse," I added. "Lawsuits will bury you." He knew I wasn't bluffing. Slowly he picked up the pen. One signature. Then another. He shoved the folder back. "It's done." I stood, voice steady. "No, Michael. Now it begins." He stormed out, slamming the door. Tim exhaled. Joyce whispered, "I never thought he'd fold." I smiled faintly. "You've only seen the spark. Now watch the fire." The next morning, I walked into HelixCore not as an employee, but an owner. Eyes followed me from every desk. Whispers. Stares. Respect. Kim Will, our security lead, met me in the lobby. "Welcome back, boss." The boardroom was full. Michael sat stiffly at the head. "Not for long." I placed the agreement folder on the table. "Per this document," I began, "I am reinstated as CTO with a 50% stake in HelixGrid." Board members nodded. One asked, "Can you restore the system now?" I tapped my keyboard. Green lights appeared. All core functions are back online. Clients are stabilized. Gasps. Applause. Michael clenched his jaw. I just tilted my head. "Now," I said, "let's talk leadership." I pulled up a slide. Internal threat audit. Lines of data filled the screen. 6 months ago, someone tried cloning HelixGrid's architecture, I said. The room quieted. Tim shifted in his seat. Michael's face went pale. "Unauthorized logins. File transfers. IP pings from your office." Joyce's jaw dropped. "Are you accusing the CEO?" I nodded. "No. I'm exposing him." I clicked to the next slide. Email traces, timestamped logs, server access. Section 9 of the shareholder agreement states any exec tampering with IP faces immediate removal. Dead silence. Michael stood. "You're twisting data." Kim rose from the side. "No, she's not." I reviewed the logs myself. The board chair looked at Michael. "You're done." Michael's voice cracked. "You can't fire me. I built this company." I stood slowly. "No, Michael. I built it. You just signed paychecks." The board chair called for a vote. Each hand rose, except Michael's. Unanimous. He was done. Security entered. He glared at me. "This isn't over." I stepped forward. "Oh, Michael. It absolutely is." He left fuming. Kim whispered, "Poetic." I turned to the board. "We stabilized today, but tomorrow we rebuild." I now had the power I should have had years ago, and I wasn't wasting it. My hands had built HelixGrid. Now I'd protect it from the outside. And from something far worse. What was already coming. That night, my secure terminal buzzed. One alert. Unauthorized access attempt. External ping. From Zurich. Untraceable almost. I stared at the string of code. It was probing the same backdoor I used against Michael.
Impossible.
Only Kim and I knew about that. I called her. "Someone's trying to breach the failsafe." Her voice sharpened. "Already?" "Yes. And whoever it is, they're good." I initiated a secondary lockdown. It bought us time, but not much. Then came the email.
No sender.
No subject. Just one line. You can't protect it forever. We're coming. I knew one thing. Michael was the beginning. Now the real enemy was knocking. If this story shook you, if you believe revenge is best served silent, then this is your channel. Subscribe now for more emotionally gripping, cinematic revenge stories. Hit the bell icon because the next story might just be better than this one. This is where betrayal meets poetic justice. You're watching The Rise of the Underestimated. See you in the next one. My phone rang. Blocked number. I picked up. Leah Paige speaking. A smooth voice replied, Ms. Paige, I'm Kevin Kent, director at Titan Holdings. We need to talk. I didn't respond. Let me be clear, he continued. HelixGrid is a valuable asset. My client is prepared to offer $300 million. I chuckled. Not interested. Think again, he said. You've made enemies. Dangerous ones. Then let them come, I said and hung up. Seconds later, the HelixGrid firewall lit up. DDoS spikes. Injection probes. They were testing defenses. Kim texted. You ready for war? I typed back one word. Always. This wasn't a business deal. It was a cyber battlefield. And I owned the battlefield. Kim and I activated Falcon Trace, a deep AI-powered protocol I created years ago. It began mapping the attack origin points, Zurich, Singapore, Buenos Aires. Each linked to shell companies. All roads pointed to one name. Titan Holdings. I dug deeper. Buried inside a PDF, metadata. An internal memo. Phase 1. Remove Leah Paige. Phase 2. Force acquisition under distress. My heart froze. They had backed Michael. They wanted HelixGrid all along. And me out of the picture. I looked at Kim. Kevin Kent wasn't just making an offer. He's trying to erase me again. She nodded. Time to strike back? I opened my secure network. Yes. Let's burn their whole operation down. I compiled a digital warhead. Logs of Titan's breach attempts. Internal memo metadata. Payment trail to Michael. Financial records from Zurich. System traces from Titan Holdings. Then I hit send. 3 destinations. FBI Cyber Division.
SEC.
Wired, Forbes and TechCrunch. Kim stood behind me. You just fired the real bullet. I nodded. Let's see how Kevin Kent handles exposure. My phone buzzed. Caller at Kevin Kent. I answered. His voice was tense. You don't know who you're messing with. I smiled. Neither did Michael. Look how that ended. I hung up. War wasn't coming. It had already started. By noon, headlines exploded. Private equity firm exposed in cyber sabotage attempt. FBI investigates Titan Holdings for corporate espionage. Titan stock tanked 30% in an hour. Kevin Kent vanished. No one had seen him since. Meanwhile, HelixGrid's investors flooded us with support. You saved us, one wrote. You exposed the rot, said another. But for me, it wasn't about praise. It was about proof. That my work mattered. That my name would never be erased again. Kim poured 2 glasses of champagne. To architects who don't go down quietly. I clinked hers. To systems that protect themselves. And quietly, I initiated one last protocol. EagleNet, a global monitoring shield. Just in case they came back. If this story shook you, if you believe revenge is best served silent, then this is your channel. Subscribe now for more emotionally gripping, cinematic revenge stories. Hit the bell icon, because the next story might just be better than this one. This is where betrayal meets poetic justice. You're watching The Rise of the Underestimated. See you in the next one. 3 days later, I stood in the main HelixCore conference room. But this time, it wasn't Michael leading. It was me, as CTO, half-owner of HelixGrid, and the woman who had saved the company. The board backed me. Employees saluted me. Kim handed me a fresh report. Security systems upgraded. New staff protocols in place. Joyce stepped in. We've terminated every exec tied to Titan. Tim, now loyal, said quietly. This place is yours now. I nodded. No, Tim. It's ours, but we run it right. I turned to the team. We don't let people like Michael or Kevin back in. Not ever again. From erased to irreplaceable. This was what justice looked like. And I wasn't done yet. That afternoon, I addressed the entire company. Hundreds of employees, standing shoulder to shoulder, waiting. I stepped to the podium, heart calm. You all witnessed a storm, I began. Leadership failed you. Trust was broken. But here's the truth. No system built on greed lasts. Silence. I was erased, betrayed, replaced. But I built this company from code, brick by brick. And I'm still standing. Applause began. Then thundered. I raised my hand. This isn't about revenge. It's about redemption. And today, HelixGrid becomes what it was always meant to be. Kim smiled at the back. We had survived. No. We had risen. And the people watching knew. Leah Paige was not someone you betray and walk away from. A week passed. Stability returned. Then came another email. From the Pentagon. They wanted a demo of HelixGrid's defense logistics system. I blinked. Kim said, "You just hit prime time." Joyce grinned. "You've gone from boardroom betrayal to national security." I sat back, stunned. My creation, once a target, was now a shield. I thought about it for a long time. Then I made a decision. We'd expand, secure, evolve. But this time I would own the entire narrative. The code, the patent trail, the contracts, everything. Michael and Kevin had taught me a valuable lesson. Ownership isn't enough. Control matters. Legacy matters. And mine had only just begun. I hit reply. Yes. Let's talk. Kevin Kent resurfaced 2 weeks later. An encrypted message. Subject. Round 2. I scoffed. Kim read it over my shoulder. Cocky for a man under investigation. He's bluffing, I said. Still, I pulled up EagleNet. Ping from South Africa. He was moving, hiding, plotting. But this time I was 10 steps ahead. I opened the Thorntrap protocol. It mirrored his connection. If he tried anything again, we'd see it coming. I whispered, "Come on, Kevin. Try me. Because some enemies don't disappear. They circle. Wait. Strike again." But I wasn't the same woman they tried to erase. Now I was a fortress. And every code string I ever wrote, it carried my signature. In digital blood. The boardroom wall now displayed something new. Plaque. HelixGrid. Designed by Leah Paige. Not buried in code. Not hidden in footnotes. Public.
Permanent.
Employees walked by and nodded at it. Respect. Joyce pulled me aside. People feel proud again. Tim added. They believe in the system now because of you. I took it in. For years I was a shadow, brilliant but invisible. Now, I was the blueprint. And my story, the near erasure, the digital rebellion, the power reclamation, was already spreading.
Tech blog.
Leadership forums. Even universities asked me to speak. But I wasn't done building. Next project. HelixGrid 2.0. Unhackable. Unshakable. Unforgettable. Built not just to survive, but to outlive betrayal. 6 months later I stood on stage in New York. Spotlights. 1,000 eyes. Tech Visionary of the Year. Leah Paige. Thunderous applause. I shook hands, smiled for cameras. A reporter asked, "What drives you now?" I said calmly, "I build to protect what matters. People. Truth. Justice." Backstage, Kim hugged me. "You've rewritten the rules." "Not just the rules," I said. "The whole language." I checked my phone. An email from a girl in Idaho. "I want to be like you. I want to code like a warrior." Tears welled. That's why I fought. Not just for myself, but for every voice someone tried to silence. And now, I was the voice. Loud. Sharp.
Permanent.
Netflix called. They wanted to turn the HelixGrid story into a docuseries. Tentative title? Code Red. The woman who brought down her CEO. I laughed. Only if I get script approval. They agreed. The first episode opened with my voice. They fired me in front of everyone. But forgot I designed the entire system. Kim watched beside me during filming. "You're going to inspire a generation." I leaned back. "They can't erase what we digitized. Not anymore." Every lie they used to hide behind, We coded past it. Every stolen title. We wrote over it. Now the world would know the truth. Not just my story. Our blueprint. One line of revenge at a time. Michael Danny was indicted.
Wire fraud.
Corporate espionage. Breach of fiduciary duty. He tried to claim I framed him. But the FBI had receipts. Emails. Transfers. Logs. My evidence sealed his fate. Joyce whispered. He still doesn't get it. He never will, I said. At his sentencing I chose not to attend. Why? Because I'd already moved on. Michael's punishment wasn't prison. It was irrelevance. The world no longer feared him. They forgot him. And the person he tried to destroy now lectured at MIT, led a billion-dollar platform, and designed security systems for the Pentagon. That was my justice. Not rage. Not revenge. Victory. I walked into a packed lecture hall. Future engineers stared up at me. Some whispered. Others had notebooks open. On the screen behind me, The Ethics of Systems Control by Leah Paige. I cleared my throat. You're here to learn how to build. But never forget, you're also learning how to protect. Silence. I told them my story. Start to finish. I didn't sugarcoat it. Didn't glamorize it. I made it real. Because they needed to know. Being brilliant isn't enough. Owning your brilliance is what keeps you from being erased. A hand shot up. Would you do it all again? I smiled. In a heartbeat. I clicked to the next slide. Let's build. Late one night, I logged into HelixGrid. Every node was green. Every firewall intact. The system purred flawless. I typed a final line of code. A lock. Not a backdoor. A legacy seal. Something no one could alter without my fingerprint, my signature. Kim messaged. Midnight update? Just polishing, I replied. I stared at the screen. Years ago, I was just the girl in the server room. Brilliant but invisible. Now I was the name etched into every line. The woman they tried to erase. The architect who outlived her betrayers. And as the code compiled one final time, I whispered. You can't steal what's already encrypted into history. Enter. Leah Paige. System secure. End.